Measurement, length. Length is how long or short an object is, or how far or close one place is from another. Some tools that we use to measure length would be a ruler, either with one type of units or another. We could use a measuring tape. You could even use an odometer, as some people use in their car. It measures how far they have driven. So units of measure for length. We can talk about standard US. We start off with the smallest, which are inches, abbreviated IN. An inch is about how big a quarter is from one side to the other. And then we have the next largest, which is a foot, abbreviated FT. And then we have even larger, which are yards. And then we have miles, abbreviated M or MI. Some equivalencies. 12 inches, so 12 quarters approximately, is lined up along and in line, would give you about 1 foot. But 1 foot would be the same as 12 inches, and then 3 feet would be the same as 1 yard. 36 inches would be the same as 1 yard as well, and 5,280 feet is the same as 1 mile. By the way, 1,760 yards also equal a mile. So miles, you can't even kind of measure that with a ruler. You would have to get in your car and drive or walk with a pedometer to know when you've walked in miles. It would be like leaving Propel Homestead and walking to the Rankin Bridge. That is about 1 mile away. Then we have our metric measures of units of measure. So first we start with the smallest, which are centimeters. Centimeters is about the width of a pinky fingernail. And so when we look at that, a centimeter means 1/100th of an entire meter. Whereas a meter is about the size of your front doorknob to the floor. That's about how big a meter is. So if you can go look at your front door right now, pause me, and you'll get a feel for what a meter is. And then we have kilometers, or kilometers as some say, abbreviated with a KM. Kilometer would mean that I would take 1,000 meters and line them up side by side, or meter sticks, and that would give me a kilometer. Usually when we measure a kilometer, it would be like leaving Propel Homestead and walking down to where Rite Aid is. And so we want to think about kilometers being a long distance, as well as miles being a long distance. And so some equivalencies that we talk about. So some equivalencies that we deal with: 1 kilometer, kilometer, equals 1,000 meters, as I mentioned. And then 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. Some things we want to keep in mind. Centimeter isn't the smallest. We also have what is called millimeters. Millimeters are very small. It would be like taking a dime and turning it on its side. The side of a dime would be considered to be a millimeter. And that would be 1/1,000th of a meter. That means it takes 1,000 millimeters to equal a meter. And that is measurement with length. Just want to point out really quickly, just a quick example of how to measure. Measuring is when you do it with a ruler or a measuring tape, and you start at the beginning of the ruler, which is usually the edge. Most students like to start with 1. You start at the edge of the ruler, and you start at the beginning of the object you are trying to measure. And then you stop measuring at the end of the object, where the back of it is, and you look how close, where it is on the ruler. So this time we're going to measure to the nearest 1/4 inch. I can see that my line goes past 2, so that's 2 full inches. And then the back of my line comes out to the first line, and I can see there's 4 equal parts between 2 and 3, so I know it's in fourths, still dealing with our fractions. So this line is the closest to the first line, so I know that that line is about 2 1/4 inches. So that's just an example. Here's another example using the centimeter ruler. I'm going to move my line over a little bit. I'm going to take my centimeter ruler. I'm going to start at the edge or 0, and I'm going to start at the beginning of my object. The line goes past 4 full centimeters, so I know that my line is 4 centimeters, and then it comes right in the middle of 4 and 5, which is halfway, 2 equal parts of the same size, so 4 1/2 centimeters is how long that line is. So that just shows you the difference between inches and centimeters, and that's measuring with length.